Jackie's here, changing life loving you. Yeah, that's the groove, life loving you. Feel the truth, move, life loving you. It's all we do, come on through, it's just for you.
Talking today about relationships that really don't have a good fit. And the one thing that I've seen as I deal with couples is people might know that things are up, the time clock is kind of rung already, and they just keep hitting the snooze button. And they just stay in this bad relationship that's really not fitting. And I want to know why. Why are we doing that?
It's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
big time
routine of the day.
So it's not good, but it's comfortable.
Yeah,
comfortable
somebody to
good.
come home laid next to. Oh yeah, you fight, but at least you still got somebody to call, somebody to kiss, somebody to lay next to. And it's people take that over their freedom. They put that over maybe moving on to a next relationship or they don't realize the toxic is doing to their life until they get out of it, and they're like, man,
wow.
Breathe.
That's after they get over the heartbreak.
Yeah,
then they start to realize, like, oh,
Exactly.
this is really pretty good.
Yeah.
But did you know that one of the top reasons why women stay in relationships is because bad relationships, is because they're afraid that they won't find anything better. So it's almost like, I'll stick with the devil that I know versus the one I don't know.
Yeah, and dating is hard. So it's just like, okay, once you get out of that relationship, now you have to get back into the swing of things, like being, going on dates and like having conversations, the talking phase. So it's just like you have to go through that whole like tribulation again. It's just like most people don't want to do that. So they just stick with what they have because you don't have to go
what's so
through
bad
that.
about the dating process? What is dating looking like now in the 21st
It's a unique atmosphere out there now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very surface level is how I want to describe it. It's very difficult to get into depth with anybody. It's hard to have conversations that actually mean something. So what you see out there, and I've seen it from friends of mine,
Not you, but your friend.
No,
right?
but my friends, not me. Definitely not me. I'm single, and I'm happy to be single right now. But
We got to get them chains on you. Clink, clink.
No. Break me
Put
free.
you on lock.
But anyways, I see a lot of people just carrying around anchors, where I like to call them anchors, where you should probably clip those anchors and just be free. Not for the sake of being single, but it's because you're dragging somebody along that can't keep up with you. You're sprinting, and they're trying their hardest, and you're just like 80%, and they still can't keep up with you. You need somebody who's closer to your equal that can bring value to your life. I see a lot of people that are bringing value to, their girl's life, and I'm giving you a male perspective, of course. Like I gave, tons of value to my girl's life, but was I gaining that same value back? I can't always say I was. So I think, a lot of people need to clip their anchors, so to speak.
So what you're looking for is an equal opposite.
Yes.
See, now I'm in the generation where I believe that, I got a cape in my purse and I'll pull it out. I believe I'm a superwoman, and I'm not looking for a provider per se. I'm looking for a partner. And I'm looking for someone to do life with. So my equal opposite.
Yeah.
So why do you think they stay? You said already that it's comfort, that you have that person there, but I mean, to me, that works up to a point, but at some point you start to realize that it's getting to that critical point where that last straw, where you have to be honest with yourself that this really isn't working, isn't going anywhere. And we as women, we got that time clock. Those ovaries are getting old.
You see, but I think that's partly why people stay. They think that they can make it work, or they think it's too late for them. They're like, no, but I wanted to have kids by 25, and you're like, which I think is crazy. 30. Yeah, but exactly, and I think that's why they stay. They're like, no, I think I can make this work. Like, they think since the dating process just takes so long, they're like, well, if I break up with him, then I have to date for like a year and then get in a relationship, and then that'll be another 2 years before, and people just think about it as a timeline instead of just going with their heart and their gut.
So we're really talking about settling. But I want to move it out of the context of the heart, because I don't know what you think about, how you feel about this, but when you first fall in love for the first time, it's like you fall in love with your heart. It's like your mind is nowhere on the scene. But then after you get over that one, you go through the heartbreak, the healing. Hopefully you healed a little something before you jumped in the boat again and go out there and plunge into the deep. But you start to learn that, what? I need to start using my mind. Because it's your mind that releases you to fall in love. Listen, everything is about, what you're positioning yourself to be, to do, or to say. And so to me, it's like when you're ready and you want a relationship, something in you just says, I'm ready to fall in love. So then you meet someone and you already come to the relationship with that perspective. I'm ready to fall in love and to settle down a little bit. So what can you tell me about where you are in your relationships as it relates to heart and mind?
I think
Talking in percentages.
in my current relationship, I feel we got past like the heart, and now like the mind is starting to kick in and say like, okay, well I'm here and you're not meeting me halfway. Like you still need to do X, Y, Z, and I'm doing X, Y, Z. Why can't you meet me halfway? So we start to argue. We start getting a lot of arguments about, me just doing what I can do best. I'm being selfish. I'm being so selfish. I'm not catering to the heart that I once gave 6 months ago because I'm so into the mind. And since we're, I guess, on two different levels when it comes to our relationship and then age and maturity, it just becomes one of those relationships that just aren't fit.
Well, I don't know. I might want to peek behind the cover. You say age. So are you older, younger?
I'm older. I'm older.
But I'm an old cougar?
No, I'm 3 years older. So not so much, yeah.
So that's how you're doing it.
Yeah.
So you think that maybe because of the age difference, they're not mature enough to kind of be on the level that they need to be
Just
on.
like, and also just like, I think the background as well, like, this person wasn't someone that grew up in a big family, wasn't raised. And I feel like although my father wasn't in my life, I still had a strong mother that raised me and taught me how to go through daily life as an adult. He didn't have that. So there's like basic things that I think that's so minimal, like, oh, you're supposed to, like, something stupid, like you're supposed to wash your hands after taking the trash. He wasn't taught that. So it's just like he wouldn't do it. So like specific things like paying, like, let's say car insurance. Like I didn't know you needed to get that. In my country, we don't have this. So he didn't know any better. So as an age of, let's say 24, 25, you're thinking like, you should know this. Like you're a grown man. So again, like it comes within the age and then
Well, I hope you didn't tell him that he's a grown man, did you?
Sometimes you gotta let them know.
That's incendiary language.
Sometimes
right
you
there.
have to let them know, and then it's just like, again, like when your mind is starting to just go past like your heart, you get there. You're just like, listen, something's gotta change right now.
But the thing that I don't like is a lot of times when we get to that point and we want to have that conversation, which is really a conversation we should have had it from the beginning, there's so much emotion invested in the conversation. So you're not saying, hey, listen, let's talk about this. I think we can work on some things that can get a little bit better. No, it's, you got to do better, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Things got to change.
Yeah.
Yeah, your tone, everything
I'm
is.
leaving tomorrow.
Yeah, like, so the person, I don't think that their ability to receive what you're saying is going to be as open and candid as if you had that conversation when there was not so much of an emotional investment.
Right.
It is.
So much frustration.
When like things start to hit the fan and you start to realize like, hey, like no, like this is just not gonna work. It becomes more of a demeaning tone rather than like a reassurance and trying to understand, compassion. Like I all of that was out the window by that point.
Yeah,
So.
and the one thing that men will always say is tone matters.
Big
We
time.
say size matters, they say tone matters, right? So I'm thinking about that. Just think about what we're talking about. So it could very well be that this is just the growing pains of the relationship.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a relationship that could fit. But by the time you bring that frustration, that tone to it, the person's more resistant than accepting of, hey, let's come together on this. Let's, we got to kind of work on these points. Especially when the points are things that he needs to do.
Yes.
100%. I think something that you said previously applies to all of these situations, which is fear. You mentioned fear. I think you're not even fit to be in a relationship yourself if you're driven by fear. And there's a lot of people out here that are driven by fear, and that's what's made the dating atmosphere, like right now, today, somewhat scary in itself, and it kind of evokes that same fear. And I think when you come to the table with that fear, you can't have those difficult conversations.
Well, not only that, I love what you said about the fear. I think that dating today is something to be a little bit more fearful of because, you guys come shrouded in all these different layers. You got your social media self. You got the self that popular culture is telling you that you need to be, and then you have your real self. So I got to date all three of those versions to try to get to the authentic one, right? How has, because we've touched on this really twice already about this whole dating spectrum. So I want to drill down. What should we see? What do you want to see in the dating arena that you don't see today?
Transparency.
Mm.
I feel like, again, like how you're saying you were dating, like I can apply that to my own relationship because I do a lot of work in entertainment. So there's a social media that I have to keep up, and then there's me in the presence where I'm talking to people and like, hey, like hit me up on my email, like, yeah, let's have coffee this time. And then I go home and I take all of it off, and here I am.
Right.
So it's just like, I wouldn't say that I wasn't transparent because you can see all of this, but I just feel like at the beginning, if I was like, hey, like, so my social media is this way, my work life is this way, you know, I have this much going on. If you're able to accept that from the get-go, then this is going to work. But now that it's coming up, like, oh, well, you're always out till like 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, I'm not out like drinking and partying. Like, I'm out like literally shaking hands and kissing babies. So it's just kind of like, if that was brought up in the beginning, I think on both ends, on any end of a relationship, I think it would be a lot smoother.
So transparency.
Yeah.
No, that completely resonates with me 110%. You know that already. You know, I'm in the entertainment space, and just being around other entertainers, people with influence, it's a lot for a woman to handle. There's always women around. Yeah. Good looking women at that. Like, let's be clear.
You didn't have to stress that part.
Yeah.
You need to stress that part.
Good.
Because, you know, but no, like it's you know, it's imperative that a woman that I'm dealing with is very confident in herself and confident in the spaces and atmospheres that I'm going to be in. Period. Some of those are very empowering, where, you know, we're working with like kids or something like that. Some of them are the opposite. We're in like a club and it's very adult, and you know, it's a different situation. So I can't agree more with transparency, but then I also would add just authenticity once again, like just knowing who you are and bringing that forward.
But you hear people say that all the time, knowing who you are. I mean, what does that really mean? Like, how, if I was trying to teach someone how to find themselves, what would I tell them?
That's a journey on themselves that they have to embark in, honestly. I really feel like I didn't find myself until I started doing things that made me felt good and not so much for others. I think that's when I truly found myself. Like, hey, I'm not, I book shows, so I'm not booking shows to put money in my pocket. Obviously, you know, I need the cash, but these people performing, like, wow, you know, you did a great job. These people are here clapping for you. Like, people are loving it. That's what's made me happy. So instead of like looking as like a social media influencer, that didn't help me sleep well at night. What helped me sleep well at night is like, oh, I just booked a studio session with someone that saw me performing live. Like, thank you so much. Like, that's what allowed me to like find myself and like be genuine within myself. Like, that's what drove me. So it's just like a journey. Like,
a purpose.
Yeah, a purpose. It's a journey that you just have to decide on your own, like, what is you and how are you going to fulfill yourself.
Okay.
So,
So what's step 2? What is the second thing that we tell them?
you gotta live
said
that.
It's a journey.
You gotta live it. You gotta be genuine in it.
I mean, I think it's something that you just grow to know yourself, you know? Make decisions because you, like, your mind and your heart tells you that, not because you ask your best friend, like, hey, what should I say? Here, text the person for me. And it's like, that's not even you. Like, you're doing things because you see people on reality TV do this, or, oh, they ignore the guy, so I'm going to do that. And it's like, no, like, do it because you want to.
So
Go on that date because you want to go on that date. Text them back as fast as you want because you want to text them back. Not this. There's this whole game in the dating world where it's like it's not authentic because people are just trying to play this game, this cat and mouse that they think that they have to keep somebody interested, to keep somebody around, to keep them entertained. And it's like, no, how about you just be two people who are getting to know each other, and that's it. There's no, you know, there's no like. There's nothing, it's just what it is on the table, on the plate, you know? There's nothing in front of it, behind it, it's just what it is.
But I think, again, people are looking at what they're going to lose. So they're trying whatever game that they can play to kind of keep, like you said, someone on the hook.
Yeah.
So they're so interested in having this relationship, almost at whatever cost, right? So let's talk about when it's time for you to leave. What does that look like? And what's the process that people should go through when they're at that point of realization that this relationship is really not going to go any further? It's not going to get me what I want. It's not what I need. And we need to go our separate ways.
I think that in a lot of ways that kind of mirrors like mourning, like a loved one when they pass. I think a lot of times we don't accept what's already in front of us. And what I really mean by that is we just need to let it go already and let it happen, let it take form, let it take shape literally. And we don't.
So what do you say? So if she's this person now that you've been in this relationship with, you're at this point of release. Let's hear your dialogue.
I mean, it always starts with, we need to talk. So I don't care how many, different ways you try to phrase that, it comes down to the same thing, and it eventually gets to the same kind of message. But I think a heart-to-heart, like an in-person, is vital. I think that just airing out your mistakes first, and your faults and your shortcomings, is probably most pivotal. So that's how I would begin the conversation. I would say, hey, listen, I'm really strong-willed, I'm hard-headed, I'm difficult.
Well, that does sound like you, too.
I'm bougie.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry, girl.
Yeah, you're on it right now.
You gotta start by...
You've had this talk a couple times.
I mean, that's authenticity right there. Yeah, he's being authentic.
Yeah. So, but also I would give them food for thought on their end, And
so you would call it food for thought?
I wouldn't call it. I would never say food for thought like that, because I think that may be a little, I don't want to say demeaning, but like, a little coming off, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you started with, these are the things that I need to work on. And I think that probably if you didn't do that, she wouldn't be quiet long enough anyways for need to object.
I might be getting smacked.
Right. Yeah. If you started with her. So I think that kind of releases each person's anxiety to be right, or to have their own say.
Right, but I learned over time to do that. Like, let's be clear, I wasn't always at that point. I used to come out guns blazing, telling you about yourself, and we're gonna go from there. But no, it's about being self-accountable and just realizing your own faults. And I think when you do that, you allow somebody to open up and be more vulnerable with you about what they're going through and what they're dealing with. Because you could be in a relationship for some odd years, it doesn't matter, whatever, many years, but you're still going through different things as people, as individuals, as, your back family life, whatever that looks like.
Your history.
So that's how I would start the conversation, just, airing out my faults, tapping into some of hers, what she needs to maybe work on, what she did to me that really hurt me, because, as men, we don't always express our feelings in general. So it's good to just at least put that in perspective and let them know.
But I think part of those conversations definitely need to happen throughout the relationship in general. Like, definitely some of those things shouldn't be happening at the end when it's too late. Like, that shouldn't be the first time that your partner hears, oh, you didn't like how I talked to you that night, or you didn't like what I did to you during Christmas, or, like, that shouldn't be the first time that they hear those things. I think communication is so big, and I feel like when you stop having communication is...
And one of the things that I always recommend to couples everywhere, you go and get a tune-up with your car annually. You go and get an annual checkup. You need to have a third voice sometimes. You need to have someone that you see to, you might have a good relationship, but you want to keep it going well. You need a third voice. You need someone. And I'm not talking about your friend now. That doesn't have a track record. That does not have a track record. Let's be very clear. When I talk about a third voice, I'm saying someone that has a track record, that has the credentials to speak into your life. Someone that is, and maybe not your mom always, because mom, you're never wrong with mom. But
it needs to be unbiased for sure.
Exactly, that can kind of hear. I remember one time I had this really bad, conflict with my husband. Now we've been married almost 30 years now, but I remember at the point I was like, I don't think we're gonna be able to make it past this, And I remember we went to go see someone, and when I told the lady what I felt, she was like, well, I don't see why that would be that big of a problem. All you have to do is ... And I remember I left there recognizing I was wrong, but that was a good wrong, because it meant that, hey, I have solutions now to our situation, and it was amicable for me. So I left there feeling good about it. A lot to say, huh? Yeah. That makes you go, You might be thinking now about some of those last ones that you cut off and thinking, man, maybe we should have seen somebody. Yeah. But I think that's always an important option, because what I've noticed also is people will say things when that third person is there that they feel safe speaking to, that they might not have been able to say to you in the way that you could have received it.
Like a buffer.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I don't think people also see the third person until it's only when it's going bad, or it's almost,
you're in their last toenail. That's when they want to come.
But I like
Dr.Jacquie saved my marriage.
But I like that point of like seeing somebody when it's good as well. Like, you don't have to go when it's just bad. It's
right. No, you want to keep your good thing going good. So that's me dropping a little wisdom on you real quick. So here's the wrap up. Relationships that don't fit, we often notice that they don't fit sometime before they end. And we have an opportunity to, number one, have that conversation. I think we need to talk. Number two, we recognize that we're not perfect and we talk about our inadequacies or our shortcomings before we also maybe give some advice to our soon-to-be ex. And lastly, we recognize that we need to be transparent even in the dating game and be autonomous, have our own ideas, and be not afraid to be who we really are. Anyways, life is a long conversation. Thank you for joining it. I'm Dr. Jacquie. Hey, Dr. Jacquie here. I'm your how-to lady. How to do life, how to do love, and how to do you, boo. So click, like, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more to come.